a big, big day. We've been talking about this story for a long time. The Big 12 and AllState have been doing this dance for the better part of 6 months now. I believe we talked about it early this year, that the Big 12 was trying to find a branding partner. And I told you, and I know I don't know anything, and I know it's not I told you so Thursday, but I told you it was a naming rights deal. And of course, all the crappy podcasts said I'm stupid and I'm fat, and which not wrong. I mean, they were accurate about that. But it turns out that we were absolutely accurate about this deal. And it is AllState, according to Ben Portnoy on Twitter, who's different than Dave Portnoy. The Big 12 and AllState are set to announce a multi-year sponsorship deal. AllState will be the presenting sponsor of the Big 12 Olympic Sports Championships, along with the creation of an AllState Championship Series. And it's one of the largest deals in the history of the Big 12. And I think that matters because one of the things that I talk about on this show a lot, and I think it's a really important question. Can the Big 12 compete financially at the top of college athletics? And I think the knee-jerk reaction is, no, come on, Marty, what are you? Yeah, they can. And it's because of deals like this. And I know you guys say this is a Big 10 show. Jerkface yesterday was saying that we're a Utah show, whatever. I'm telling you right now, here in the moment, I'm a Brett Yormark show because Brett Yormark is doing the deals that everybody dreams about. This is another Mexico City, which really hasn't happened yet, but you know. This is another Rucker Park. This is another deal on top of all the deals that he's done. The Big 12 Pro Day with the Dallas Cowboys. Like, you look at all of the things that Brett Yormark is doing, he consistently adds value to the conference. He is consistently growing the bottom line, putting more money in the pockets of his presidents. I think this is absolutely a no-brainer, and it's exactly the way that sports and entertainment should come together because that's what college football is. It is sports and entertainment. It's why the Big 12 absolutely has the best basketball championship tournament. You see him in Kansas City. You've got Shaq doing shows. Like, it's a sports and entertainment event. You're there for basketball, but you're also there to see a wildly entertaining event. And I think that's what separates the Big 12. And it just feels like this is a really significant moment in time for Brett Yormark.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the Big 12 is in this place where, they need to build momentum. And yes, some of that's on the football field, but a lot of that is going to be in the financial, realms of the conference. And, I think that getting a naming rights deal done is huge for the conference. I think it adds credibility. It obviously adds revenue. And, the conference needs to continue to build on this. It's one of those things where I feel like the Big 12 is in a position where they could be one of the best conferences in the country. Like, you could be one of the best football and basketball conferences in the country, but you don't win enough on the football field to justify that. And it begs the question, well, if Brett Yormark can get a naming rights deal done with AllState, with the current state of football in the Big 12, what would it look like if you had 5 or 6 or 7 teams competing for the conference legitimately? What would it look like if the conference had, a much higher level of publicity, a much higher level of coverage, much higher level of notoriety? And that's what's always stood out to me with the Big 12 is that, in basketball season, the ACC gets all this run, and it's Duke and UNC and Virginia.
Duke is Duke.
Show up. Yeah, like the ACC gets kind of a free pass on the media with basketball, but the Big 12 doesn't really get a free pass in football during football season, and that's what's
nor should they.
And they shouldn't. But my point is that if you're not going to get that luxury in one of your sports, you got to win in both sports at the same time, and that I think is ultimately what we always come back to, and that's why everyone wanted to kind of run from the whole Wolf of Waco performance against Auburn. The best example of dude, you had plenty of time to prepare for them, man. They didn't do anything special except run it right down your throat the whole game. Like, at some point, these programs need to improve. That way, Brett can do more of this stuff.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a lot more than that. I think it is Because if we're being honest, if you look at the hierarchy and the ranking of conferences, I don't think there's any doubt the Big 12 is the best basketball conference in the country. I think the SEC made a hard push last year, but you're going to have to do that. If we're talking about in general, you're going to have to do that on a consistent basis, top to bottom. And right now, like I think Houston's a really good example. I'll continue to espouse that I think Houston football is moving in the right direction. It's one of the best basketball programs in the country, right? So I think that's well and good. But when we talk about football, this is where the rubber meets the road, because the Big 12 should be the number 2 football conference in the country behind the SEC. And they might well be, but you can't crown them as that because they don't win games. And I continue to go back to all of the things that Brett Yormark is doing, all of these major deals. He is, in my opinion, running laps around Phillips and the ACC, and I'm not even sure that that is arguable. I think the Big 12 is so significantly further along financially and as far as footing and stability goes to the ACC.
I don't even know what the ACC is trying to do right now. But, that's the thing.
Well, I'm certain they're doing something, but what we know is the Big 12 is significantly further ahead of the ACC. And then I look at the Big Ten, and the Big Ten continues to be a 1 or 2 team league, right? And if we look at how important it is that the Michigan penalties didn't include a postseason ban, that was huge, because if Michigan can somehow find a way to win games, and it starts this weekend, obviously, and we'll talk a lot more about that game tomorrow, but if they can somehow find a way to win games and be at least in the hunt for a playoff spot, which I highly doubt, I mean, you're only talking about a 1 or 2 bid league. There's no question that right now, Iowa State and Utah appear to be playoff teams. There's no question about that. But you're going to have to find a way to get guys like Dave Aranda and Mike Gundy to be fired in time. Not when you feel like it, not a couple of seasons down the road. They should have been fired last year, after last season. And I think Dave Aranda has been on the hot seat, and I don't even know what it would take to get him fired in Koresh country, because it appears they love the guy.
David Koresh.
Right? And I don't understand why teams in this league will not do everything they need to do to win games. And obviously we're going to put, the Wolf of Waco. But I'm going to put Joey and Texas Tech on that list now, because simply of the money and the NIL stuff that they've done. I know Utah's doing that. I know Matt Campbell's doing that. But you look at this situation at K-State today. Today was another really bad day for K-State.
Bro.
and I continue to put my hands up in the air and say, how long is it going to be until we come around to the facts that something's wrong in Manhattan? Something's not right. And you look at this right here with Jay Sean Ross getting arrested at 4 a.m. on a drug trafficking charge. This was a guy that you flipped from Alabama that everybody was really excited about. Well, that was until, his bond is at, $15,000 on a really big drug charge. Like distribution. It's a distro of marijuana charge. That's a big deal. That's
a lot of weed in the trunk, dude.
That is a big deal. And it's another bad day for K-State. And this is a league, as we've talked about, that can't afford K-State to have too many more bad days. I think K-State, as I talked about after the Iowa State game, K-State is a really important football program in this league because they're more than capable of winning. Yet they're not. And now they're taking losses off the field. And that, I've never seen that go well. Have a guy picked up on a distro charge, kicked off the football team because he was immediately removed from all mention, and then have the team see no effect of it on the weekend.
There's only one program who does it, and it's Georgia. There's only one program who's ever done it, and it's Georgia. I mean, repeatedly, guys getting in trouble with all jokes aside, with speeding and all the different things that they do, and they're seemingly immune to it. And I think that unfortunately, like I don't sit here and look at K-State as a program that typically has these kind of problems, but I would agree. I mean, it needs to be said that not only did you not look good, these first couple of weeks, you have guys out at 4 a.m. Like what are we doing, man? Like what, like out at 4 a.m. with enough product.
And isn't that the biggest detail though? But isn't that the biggest detail, bro? He's out at 4 a.m.
Like, what are you doing out at 4 a.m, bro?
Dropping a trunk load of weed, apparently.
I mean, apparently you rolled up in your SRT and popped the trunk, bud. Like, I mean, that's what's hard, man, is that, like once that stuff starts happening, I'm not saying it's an indictment on the whole program, but once it happens once, now are we going to be surprised if it happened again? Well, no, not really. Now that it's happened once, like,
and I bring this up because I just don't think this is something that this league is able to absorb. When you have big off-field problems like this, look what happened to Ollie Gordon at Oak State last year, right? Like this, your programs are not deep enough. They're not well-heeled enough. They don't spend enough money. And again, maybe I just need to go back and point at Texas Tech spending a ton of money. Maybe I need to go back and point at Utah, who now has a full throttle NIL program that consistently every MFing day sends me emails saying, give us money. We want to win more games, right? They kicked the crap out of UCLA. And the first thing they did was email Monty for a check for the Crimson Club.
Check, Monty.
God damn it. Anyway, but the point is, you look at what Iowa State did, and I hated it. I think I can say we hated it.
Yeah.
Jake never has an opinion of his own. But, I hated the whole thing they did where they were like, oh, well, they're all taking pay cuts to come back to Ames.
They want to be in Ames and they want to play for Matt Campbell and he's the best coach ever. Yeah. Okay, dude. Right. Yeah. I'm sure that's what it was.
I think it is. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how all this plays out, because I look at where the Big 12 is. And I look at how this league is coming together with all of these events, all of these sponsorship deals. And again, I think when you look at this AllState deal, I think it's absolutely massive, and I don't know if Mike Smith is here today.
Mike Smith.
But is now every truck stop in the Big 12 the AllState truck stop? Is that what it is? Should we just fully embrace the AllState flyover conference? Right? Should we just AllState brought to you by Buc-ee's, right? Like, is that what we're doing?
Buy one, get one free on their chicken sandos off the roller.
Buy 2 roller food at Buc-ee's and get an electrode shoved. Never mind. Anyway, my point is, this is just another big win for Brett Yormark, and it shows you that this league's going to compete. And I do believe that it's over here, this one. They can compete financially with the big boys in college football. Will they ever out-earn the Big Ten? No, because the worst football programs in that league outdraw the best football programs in the Big 12. And the SEC is on another level financially. You're not gonna outdraw them. I didn't say, can you surpass? Can you compete? And the answer is yes. And a lot of it is, you're really good in basketball, which is a great start. You're really good in your Olympic sports, which is really important. And now you've got AllState money. And I think it's huge. And I mean, obviously, the bigger story is, well, the Big 12 and Dave Portnoy now are negotiating a deal, allegedly giving Dave and the Barstool Boys a blank canvas to create content with the Big 12. To which I say, okay, you've done everything right up until this point. And now this is the thing that's going to come back to get you eventually. Because eventually something's going to be said or something's going to be done that's not going to go over well in Big 12 country coming from a Big 10 guy. Like, what are we doing? And this isn't just some small thing. Talking to some folks in the know, this is close. They don't have a deal finalized as yet, but they had a call with Brett Yormark, several presidents, and almost every athletic director talking about ways, and Dave Portnoy was on this call, by the way. So it's Brett Yormark, a couple of presidents, almost every athletic director, and Dave Portnoy on a conference call talking about ways that Barstool Sports can partner with the Big 12 to create content and grow awareness. This is really close. And I'm told everybody embraced it, which, hey, again, as I've said, Dave Portnoy's a great businessman. You don't want him dating your daughter because, again, you lie down with dogs, you're going to get fleas. But if no sex is involved in this deal, Jake, I don't see what could go wrong.
Yeah, as long as dude doesn't get handsy with some people in the conference, we're gonna be fine. Like, I think, the thing with the Big 12 is that everything is going fine. I agree they need to make more money. You're clearly chasing the SEC and the Big 12 or the Big 10 on the football field. And the hard part is I just feel like the Big 12 has this opportunity to be a really complete product. Really good on the football field, good on the hardwood. And be a conference that's a 2 or 3 bid league into the college football playoff. But I just the reason I'm so bent on that is because if you can get 2 or 3 teams into the CFP regularly, you go from being a second tier conference to the Big 10 and the SEC to being a major player. And that's what, to me, that's the shame. It's like, it's the old adage you always use. It's like, it's not the money you're making, it's the money you're not making. And in this case, it's both, literal and figurative, right? It's both like, hey, yeah, you're literally not making the money you should be, but then figuratively, you're not getting the PR, you're not getting the push, your reputation isn't as strong as it could be. And that's why this K-State stuff, the Matt Campbell, Iowa State comments, this
Gundy,
this asinine Mike Gundy crap this week, why are we choosing to go that way when you could just get on board and embrace NIL and embrace the portal and embrace the changes,
but
and
that's not
be
what
better.
we do. But that's not what we do.
But if you're Gundy, you don't have a choice. I mean, you're either going to embrace it or get fired. Like, that's the reality.
But poor people don't know what it's like to have money.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you look at Mike Gundy, and this is a great example, right? If you look at Mike Gundy and you look at what he said, and I don't even know how to explain how stupid it is. And I guess we don't have the bite anymore, but you have Mike Gundy he straight up called Oregon the best team money can buy. And I'm saying to myself, that smacks of a guy who can't buy the best team. He ain't got the bread. That's what it is. So instead of doing his very best to win games, Mike Gundy wants to shame the rich who can afford to go and pay players.
Yeah.
When you should be doing everything you can to get on this list right here, which are the biggest recruiting budgets in the business. How many Big 12 teams do you guys see on here? Huh. That's interesting. The answer is I don't see any. But I see a bunch of SEC teams. I see a couple of Big 10 teams. I see a couple of ACC teams. That's South Florida down there? You're getting outspent by South Florida? Like, this is a problem. And I look at this and I say to myself, this is why the Big 12 is where they are. And Brett Yormark has to change that.
Yeah.
And I look at, and I know I'm not even self-aggrandizing. I know that there are athletic directors who watch this show. You need to raise your bar. Because I hear from guys who are like, well, you're being hard on Dave Aranda. You're being hard on Dave Aranda. Yeah, because he's not doing a good job.
What do you mean we're being hard on, dude?
It's not being hard on X, Y, or Z. You're not doing a good job. Baylor, as good as the basketball program has historically been, the football program is garbo. It rarely, in the last how many years, has even been competitive. You look at Oak State, you look last year, Utah, and again, I'll just keep pointing at Utah. Well, it's a Utah show, Monty. Could be. But tell me what it is that they are not exemplary at. They fired the basketball coach middle of the season the moment they were eliminated from postseason play. Peace out. Oh, you had a bad football year last year? You cleaned out the offensive coaching room. And then came out and beat wholesale ass in your opening week against a Big Ten team, albeit UCLA. Right? Like, what more do you want them to do? Like, I look at Baylor and I look at Oak State. I'm talking to UTCU. What more do you want Joey and the guys in Tortilla Town to do? Frankly, I'd far rather be a Texas Tech fan than a Baylor fan, because I know we're spending the money, and now it's up to Joey to win the game. What more do you want Deion to do in Colorado? Right? I'll just continue to say, you've got to have the Kenny Dillinghams. You've got to have the Deion Sanders and the Kyle Whittinghams. You've got to have guys who are willing to do everything it takes. And if they're not, you need to get them out.
I'm a man.
Because you're not on this list. Do you think that top 6 is accidental?
Nope.
That's a way of doing business in the SEC. As simple as it is, that's a way of doing business. So, I don't. Do you guys believe that the Big 12 can compete financially? I mean, I think with this deal today with AllState, and it's not official, it's being reported that the Big 12 and AllState have a deal in place.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly helps. I mean, clearly it helps put you forward. You know, it's always hard to say what the gap is, but I do think that the Big 12 needed this deal. You know, they needed to get this deal done. You know, get it behind you, get it set up, and then from there, I just think that the only other thing that this conference can look at is just other ways to bring in revenue, other revenue streams, and I'm waiting for the major wave of private money to come into the sport, because we know that's going to happen at some point. Yeah. So it's just a matter of like what the front door is for that, if that's just into the new entity, the Super League, or if that's going to be at the conference level. So I mean, I think the word compete, yeah, I think they can compete. Are they ever going to eclipse the Big Ten? Probably not, but I would also say I don't know that you need to eclipse the Big Ten. It would be nice, but I don't think you need to do that as long as you're winning and as long as the conference is in a good spot.
I hope you have enough money to force people to raise the bar. That's really what it comes down to for me. I'm tired of this conference being mediocre. In all seriousness, Grad Slacker, Mountain West owns the Phoenix market. I don't know if I get that carried away. I think that guy Dillingham has some imagination happening down there, Tempe way. King of Thailand, hello. Big 12 does not have networks that's the black eye. I don't know that you need networks when you have ESPN. I mean, they are fully ingratiated with ESPN and the Big 12. I mean, is anybody watching? When's the last time you watched the SEC network? How often are you watching Big Ten network?
I don't know either.
Short Bus. What's up, Short Bus? If ASU keeps winning in a bandwagon city like Phoenix, it'll take off. Absolutely.
Knew today would be shitty.
The crowds were much better. Yeah, the crowds were much better last year, obviously. They've got to win without Scat. If they can do that, and that quarterback is better than he's not, is what I'll say. K-State Scott, and not a good day in Manhattan. No, they can't. Shouty. Wow. Maybe. Okay. Look at the top 100 ESPN players conferences. Yeah, we talked about that. Absolutely. Short Bus, beating UCLA isn't a flex. It used to be, but LOL, coming from the Pac-12, they've been bad for a while. UCLA, another team that needs to raise the bar.
Yeah, but I think that comment is related to Utah, and all I would say to that is, yeah, they may not be the flex they used to be, but it's still a benchmark of how good Utah is. You
And you
know,
buried them.
you would have been saying Utah sucks if they had won by a field goal. So let's not sit here and pretend like it's not a good win because it is.
And it's a win over a Big Ten team. So I think it is. I think it's a very good win. I have no doubt about it. That's a really good win. Let's see. Oak State James, BDM, finally something we have in common. KFC coleslaw is amazing.
Okay. I mean, dude, I can't see you say comments like this and then you wonder why you have a vibrator in your butt. Like, come on, dude.
Wow.
Come on, bro. Like, you're
Wow.
eating KFC regularly and we're wondering why the what is it, the Colinator 3000?
The
Like,
Colinator 3000 live
Like,
in the rectory.
Come on, bro. Like, geez.
Oak State James. Oak
Damn.
State James had some butthole problems. So he went and had a procedure where they manually inserted an electrode in a certain orifice.
Here I am.
And now he hits a button and the pooper shooter happens. And, you know.
Damn, dude. I mean, we know you're not just eating the coleslaw. You know that, right? We know you're having the fried chicken. We know you're having the amazingly processed and microwaved potatoes with gravy. We know that.
Bucky's chicken sandwich is just as good, if not better, than Popeyes or KFC. James, maybe we need to do an intervention, which is different than an internal. But maybe we need to do an intervention where we just duct tape you down to like the pulpit in the rectory, and we just feed you the body and the blood of Christ instead of Bucky's chicken sandwiches. And
Mommy, please take me home.
My guess is if you didn't eat Bucky's for like even a month, you would be able to yank that electrode out, but you probably like it, so you don't want to.
It vexes me.
You know, man, the Barstool ASU hoops game was horrible. Yeah. Jay Sleep. We're paying players well at Iowa State, but we can't even keep up with Baylor with our collective. Well,
maybe you should stop talking about dudes taking pay cuts on the roster and you'd be able to keep up.
Yeah. King of Thailand, ACC has recently been in the news for a major media partnership with ESPN exercising its option to extend. That's not really are we going to say that's a...
I know you're in Thailand. We discussed this a long time ago.
He's not in Thailand. Soon. John Hamm. Oh, boy.
Here it comes.
Man, love the show. Here we go.
Yeah, that's the caveat.
That's always the one.
Dude, that's the same thing as like, if I'm going to be honest, I don't want to lie. I'm not trying to be a douche. Okay, go ahead. What does he got?
But Monty, with this Big Ten is 1 or 2 bid league, and the Big 12 is a better football conference. I didn't say it was a better football conference. God, John, I just think you come in here to be a red ass. I truly think what I said. I never said the Big 12 was a better football conference.
Nope, never said that.
I said it should be. But you can't have Oak State go winless. You can't have Utah and getting scammed by Rising. You can't.
Yeah, Gatorade coolered.
Anyway, Maury Alvarez. Hello, Maury. Hope you guys are well. I think it'll take a few years of sustained excellence before they'll be able to catch the big or the SEC. They've got to win games on the field. Because if you look at the Big Ten, and honest to God, if you make an honest assessment of the Big Ten right now, and I said to you, how many teams in the Big Ten in a 12-team playoff? Illinois, probably not. Indiana, prove it to me. Iowa, no. Maryland, no. Michigan, no. Michigan State, no. Minnesota, no. Nebraska is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Nebraska has to be a playoff team every year. Yep. That's a blue blood. You did everything you could do to get them in the league, and they have been a zero in the Big Ten. Ohio State, Oregon, Epstein U.
Ohio State.
Absolutely. Purdue, no. Rutgers, no. SC, no. Washington, no. Wisco, no. Northwestern, no. UCLA, no.
But see, you got to add SC to the Nebraska list, right? I mean, SC should be a playoff team, but they're
Until
not.
they are.
Yeah.
Right? So if we really are talking about how many of those teams, sure, could Illinois get in to the college football playoff this year? Yes. Am I impressed with a 52-3 win over Western? No, I'm not. Are they the 11th best team in the country? They're not. They're not. But the problem is, and again, I'm curious when we get to November and we start talking about who's in and who's out, are they going to get punished for playing Duke, Western Michigan? You're playing two directional state schools who are both Western something or other. Then it's Indiana, SC, Purdue. That's not strength of schedule. Ohio State, of course. Washington, yes. Rutgers, Maryland, Wisco, and Northwestern. Is that impressive? If you lose, let's say you lose to Ohio State and, hell, Indiana. Is that impressive? Is that, oh my God, put them in the playoff?
No.
But Big Ten fans will be like, well, you got to put Illinois in. I don't have to put Illinois in anything. I warned you about cock on thigh last year. I warned you about Signetti last year. It's not a good football team. Like you're only getting the knuckle deep boys and Happy Ending Valley in
length and girth
and where they were because Jabba the jerk off in Ann Arbor tried to rig the whole thing. And it blew up in his face because Ohio State came back. And I think that was the victory that America needed. Ohio State. America needed that. How is Buc-ee's not a sponsor of the showgram already? They got to return phone calls, man. They hated on us. Short bus. I'd rather have Monty commentate a game before those clowns. There's a lot of people who hate Barstool.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Barstool.
That was a masterpiece of dog shit.
I'm not saying you're wrong. You know, Jabba the jerk off. Yeah. Buddy in Ann Arbor. You know, like
iconic reference, dude.
I am just so annoyed with the constant change I'm so annoyed with the constant change in college football. Like, and now we're hearing about how football programs are going to have to be 3-1 financially. You're going to have to make 3 times your allocated budget in revenue because of the federal education funding cuts. And it's like, dude, at what point are you like,
it's rough.
It is very rough. And I think it's difficult, man. And I just don't know how you fix it.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know how you benefit, how you thrive, how you operate, like any of it. I mean, I just think it's such a shock to the system. And that's why I'm telling you, like, again, basically every solution to every problem is solved by winning football games and winning a lot of football games. You know, you win your conference, you know, you win a CFP game, like you're in a way better spot financially, like you're helping your league. And I think there's no question about the fact that schools and athletic programs that win and push the conference forward and make the conference money and you know, they gain leverage through that process. And that's also valuable. You know, you never know when you're going to need the ability to, you know, give someone else the bird or to say, hey, we want it done this way instead of that. Like, you never know when that's going to come into play. So I just think that, you know, we've never said the Big 12 was better than the Big 10 overall, but I think it goes without saying that the Big 12, in my opinion, is a deeper league. I mean, the Big 10 is typically each year is only 2-3 teams at most at the end of the day, and that's basically it. And that's what it's going to be hard for them to get away from.
So, just a quick side note.
Okay.
because this is the life that I lead.
Okay.
So I have 2 launch monitors for golf. I have a Mevo Flight Scope and a Foresight.
Yeah.
I'm selling the Mevo Flight Scope because I
Yeah.
don't use it.
Right.
I've used the Mevo Flight Scope maybe 20 times. Good unit. Pretty much brand new. I have it listed for $850. It retails at $1,739. I had a guy message me and say, "Would you consider 300? I'm broke." It's listed at 850. And I consider 300. Like, do you understand the
What
trouble?
now? Let me tell
I
you
need
what
like
now.
Simon and Garfunkel's Bridge
Bro.
Over Troubled Water. It's not my fault you're broke. It just means you can't afford it. So, no, I won't take a $550 write down because you're broke.
No.
Dude, I hate selling. I hate it. I cannot stand it.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Thank
You
you.
suck.
Thank you. Dude, it's so annoying to me. The guy has to be trolling me. I just thought I would share that bit of greatness with you.
Yes.
Eric Wasikowski, Southern Utah flipping birds in the Pac-12. Didn't they? Were they like an affiliate volleyball member or something? Big Pac-12 is going to be a good volleyball conference. James is working on a deal to become the official IPF of Buc-ee's.
Well,
Okay. Oh, James. I'm watching a ton of kids dropping school right now. They can't get funding as easy, and now they're making life choices they don't want to make. I'm warning you guys. I'm warning you right now. This eliminating the Department of Education, the unintended consequences I always talk about on this show. Every decision that you make in your life has unintended consequences, good and bad, right? And it's one of the major ones is paying for education. We're going to talk about today people who rent, because there's a new study out from the National Association of Realtors, put out a stat talking about how multimillionaires are now preferring to rent luxury condos instead of buying homes. Like, how the housing market is so fundamentally broken. And you look at the stats that came out Tuesday on credit card debt in this country, and it's not just millennials anymore. Remember when we were talking last year about how millennials had run up record credit card debt? It's Gen Xers are now in as much credit card debt per capita as Gen X has ever been in. And we look at these decisions to eliminate funding for education, and now you're pressing down financially on all these kids. So fewer kids are going to college. So not only did we cut federal funding for college, enrollment is down because of that. So they're making less money on enrollment and less money on federal funding. And you wonder why sports are getting cut at universities.
yeah.
It is a terrible cycle. And you look at kids from Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, everybody's in debt. And there's not a real clear path on how you get out of debt. And it's just a really interesting time of life. And the decisions you make, if you are a university to fire a coach, you look at Texas A&M, that Jimbo buyout, I still don't know how they did it. And they're going to pay for it for how long?
Long time.
Long time. Wow, look at that. Dale Donuts in the comments section. Credit card debt wouldn't be an issue if I just get a divorce. Dude, you know. It takes a village to educate a child. It does.
Mhm.
Greed has ruined everything.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
may
I
not
just
be
think
wrong
it's,
about
I
that.
just think it's a difficult. As much as like the housing market is a core fundamental issue with things right now, I feel like in the day to day that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like if you think about just like the average person getting along, living their life, buying a house, I feel like oddly enough it just isn't really on the radar right now because I feel like people are
No,
just like, no, I just can't do it. It's not really something that I'm focused on, and maybe next year. Like I literally feel like that's people's mindsets, and I think that there's a lot
I
of
agree.
people. There's a lot of people who like it doesn't surprise me that realtor set you dropped about people just wanting to rent condos and stuff. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, why would you take on the liability? Why would you in the market now? Like if you're out of the market, why would you get in the market and take on the liability? Involved in buying a house right now. The higher, obviously, like everyone says, oh, the rates are really high. Well, they're not actually like historically high or
Not
anything,
close
but
to
they're higher
historically
than
high.
they were. And so it's like, why would you buy into rates that are higher than they were? Number one, but then number two, all the cost to ownership, all the HOAs, I mean, it is because of the price of the house, because of the mortgage, it does kind of become a racket to own a house right now. And that's
Yeah.
the problem is that,
And the cost of entry is exceptionally high right now because if you're subprime, so if you're even now, subprime used to be like 600 or lower. Now it's like 700. Your down payment and the fees and costs associated with that, and then what they call PMI or personal mortgage insurance, private mortgage insurance, adds several $100s minimum to your mortgage. Like, so, and I say all this because we're in this position now where these universities are really suffering.
mhm.
There is a major backlash from this cut the Department of Education. And what everybody, and naive is probably strong, but I think when you look at what most people will tell you, oh, well, the state's going to take care of it, so everything will be fine. Well, the states don't have the money to handle it. And we're not talking about a small amount of money. We're talking about billions of dollars that was put into R1 research institutions and AAU designated universities. There's that term again.
Yes.
AAU designated universities and R1 research institutions to cure things like cancer. It's how we came up with, in a record amount of time during Donald Trump's first term, we came up with the COVID vaccine like it faster than ever. Who came up with that? The people that were being funded to do the research and the science. We've stopped funding that now. So those universities aren't making that money anymore. And it's not the money itself. So like the federal government gives the university money. The university takes that money and they make more money with it because what they do is they hire professors. Those professors bring grants with them because when you hire the best scientists, those scientists usually are affiliated with a certain industry, like they're an MNRA expert or a chemical expert, whatever they are. They bring grants with them. So it's this snowball. And what happens when you have the top cancer research scientists go to work at K-State University, let's say, or Northwestern? Let's use Northwestern, massive medical school, right? So this scientist agrees to go and take a $700,000 position at Northwestern where let's say he's going to work on a cure for pancreatic cancer. What happens as a result of that? Okay, well, Northwestern takes that federal money, pays this guy, who then takes the money that he gets paid. Let's say it's $700,000, because I saw this example last week. He doesn't pocket $700,000. He has $700,000 that year to hire two assistants and 3 interns. In turn, to pay for those humans and the work they're going to do, he brings in grants, right? So all this money is being pumped in here. You're like, well, what the fuck does this have to do with sports? Well, now he's not getting any of that money because the grant money disappeared, because the companies that were getting the grant money are no longer getting grant money, partially or fully, from the states, because what are the states who are funding that money? Like Eli Lilly in Indiana. Any Indiana fans, any Indianapolis residents, West Lafayette, Indiana, massive Eli Lilly plant. What happens is Eli Lilly now isn't getting the contracts they were getting because the government cut funding from the federal level to the state level. So not only are we not researching cancer and vaccines or science or whatever, now the money that was going to fund sports, I don't know, like the volleyball team or the track and field program, because you're not cutting football, that makes you a ton of money. Basketball is a secondary income, but you're cutting these other sports. You're cutting women's sports across the board. And to make sure you're in compliance, you're going to cut a bunch of men's sports. Diving. Look at all the Cal schools cutting swimming and diving programs. That's a direct result of the process I just described.